This is the face of someone who just knocked their purse over and spilled out all their loose change all over the floor. Hey, let's hang. All right, moving on. So I actually have a topic. I has topic. Aren't you proud? I did it. It's midlife crisis. Now, if you're younger, like in your teens, 20s, it may still apply to you. Because what if you are at that age now where, you know, they say like your childhood, the way your parents treat you, the things that they taught you, it kind of provides the trajectory for the rest of your life. So what if that's where you are? You know, while you've been having your elders asking you, what do you want to be? And all that stuff, I'd like to remind you that you're going to be able to change your mind. You don't have to lock it in. If you figure that out for yourself already, cool, right on. But just so that you know, in case nobody else has been making that point with you, you can change your mind. You can totally change your mind, right? The kitties have realized I have come home. So notice the things that people tend to do when they're having a midlife crisis. The way I see it, and it's not a debate, it's a conversation. I'm not worried about changing your mind any more than I feel the need to change my own. I feel pretty good about where I am in my opinion on these things. People hit that point, like maybe it's been fake it till you make it. Just the things that you need to do to be able to pay your bills, be able to fulfill your responsibilities and all that shit, right? What if you reach a point in life where you felt like you did the thing? You did like what you thought you were supposed to be doing, right? Go to college if you do, if you're able to, right? Graduate, whether it's barely or better than, whatever. I don't know about better or less, like it's whatever words. Or you just go off into the real world right off the bat, right? All too often, so many of us have a tendency to do what we think we're supposed to be doing, and we kind of stifle ourselves and the passions we had naturally as we live our lives and have, whether it's video games or music, learning an instrument, art, right? I'm like 20 years ago, I was writing stories, songs, poetry, like as easily as breathing air. There was no writer's block. Every single blank page was a challenge accepted. You know what I mean? I just rocked that shit. I didn't have to think about it. I don't think. I come up with ideas. You know what I mean? And I lost that for a long time. I stifled it. It's like we assimilate, right? Go to school or join the real world. You get married. You have your kids. Blah, 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 blah. Regardless of your gender identity, there's still human crap that we have to wade through, that people still need to figure out like what works for them. What does that look like for you? What does your joy and happiness and being true to yourself, having that autonomy, what does it really look like so that when you hit your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, and you've survived all of that? Fuck the 27 club. That is such bullshit. You've survived everything. Hopefully you're still intact. And by that, I mean your mind and your personality, knowing who you are underneath the layers that everybody else piled on top of you. I like to kind of compare it to or consider it, the cats are playing. One may know they're playing, the other may not actually be quite sure. Think of it like you're born, you're who you are, and you have all that, whether there's generational trauma, whatever it is, Hopefully not. But whatever it is that you're learning from your family, right? Your parents, your aunts and uncles, your siblings, if you have any, your cousins, all of that, right? And then you have people who are like, why do you breathe like that? And they grab a chisel and they just kind of, you know, shave off some pieces, chip, chip, chip away some pieces. There you go. Why do you talk like that? Chip, chip, chip. Why do you dress like that? Why do you like that kind of music? You know, we kind of get chipped away by our society and what is considered normal. Normal's a fraud. It's not real. It's a perspective thing. Just like if someone's attractive or not. I don't want to hear about asymmetry or anything. I don't care, right? Like when people are allowed to be comfortable in their own skin, to be comfortable with themselves and sure of themselves. There's a big difference between that form of confidence and arrogance, rudeness, right? Thinking you're better than anyone else. There's differences there, and they're not synonymous. They don't have to be, right? Think of how they glow. It's almost like they glow, like that aura, right? You notice it as soon as they walk in the room. That's someone who was allowed to be themselves. They didn't get so much chipping going away. I wonder why people don't even recognize themselves in the mirror eventually, because they've been chipped away. Now there's somebody else's piece of art, right? And then you hit that point in your life where you realize, when am I going to be happy? When am I going to be fulfilled? And oh my God, I never had to stop doing the things I actually enjoyed. So it's like they kind of regress. The difference at that time is now you have all that wisdom gained. It's not just allowing yourself to return to the things you enjoyed when you were younger, before you had to run off to college or already get into the real world. Guess what? You were born into the real world. You've always been in the real world. What exactly were you being prepared for, I wonder? You were being socialized. And a lot of us may have not freaking wanted to be. I'm just saying, right? What are the things that you've stifled because you may or may have not been taught that you had to in order to fill responsibilities, right? A lot of people like to say in your 20s, that's for figuring things out, for having your freedom and figuring things out. And then your 30s are for family and getting older and taking care of kids and blah, 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 blah. What if your teens and your 20s and your youth is for realizing, oh, I can make a mistake and it's not the end of the world? What if what I know to imagine, to hope for, to plan for, can be 10 times better than anything I ever imagined? I only know what I know. Therefore, I don't know to imagine something else, right? But are you going to close yourself off from those possibilities because you got that hyper focus? Or not, right? You can change your mind. And that's why it doesn't need to be quite the same thing as it's been for so many of us, dealing with our elders and how they had their midlife crises, right? My dad like shaved his head, and which really wasn't much of a difference, let's be real. It wasn't. He had a very large forehead. So he would say it himself. It's okay. It's whatever. That's my daddy, you know? And started going to the tanning salon. He got the ear pierced, but he's not gay. I was like, Dad, get your ear pierced. It doesn't, like, who cares? Who cares? What if a problem people tend to have is they're witnessing others being able to live their lives and be who they are? Oh, a lot of people are being diagnosed autistic. It's about fucking time. you know, people are transgender and living their lives and being accepted for who they are, why would anybody be upset about that? Is it because there's something about you that you've had to stifle? That you haven't, there's very important parts to you that you haven't been true to because you felt like you had to assimilate to be safe, to be accepted? There are what? We've passed the 8 billion mark, right, in humanity? Even now in 2026. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of options. And at least a few anomalies. Why are you so hyper-focused on the people around you when there's a big old world of people? And if Psych 101 teaches us anything, is if one person is thinking a certain way, the odds are there are other people doing the same. And the internet may be a bit of a present-day wild, wild west, but not everybody's a horrible human being using it to be cruel without consequences. First of all, there are way too many petty people going around being like, "This you?" for anyone to really feel like they can get, like, you still feel like you can get away with shit? Really? I don't. Like, before we even get to talking on whether you need to be held accountable for anything or not, like, I don't feel like it's too easy. It's way too easy to have this electronic version of a paper trail now. And people, they're so, for lack of better words, incapable of seeing past the tip of their own nose that they don't even realize. It's like that one psychic show with the one chick who talks with celebrities and stuff, you know, because I was like, which one? There's a bunch of chicks. And it kind of drives me nuts because I'm pretty sure her team just does all the research. And then if somebody's had a career for a while, they don't remember the shit that they said in an interview years ago, right? And it's just like, wait, but you're getting very personal with this person, and this is not necessary. How did I end up over here in the conversation? That was quite the digression. Whatever. I feel like I've just reached, you know, that's all I got. Let's just be, maybe that's all I got right now. Maybe that's it. Nice and short and sweet. Ah, crap, it's already 13 minutes. Whatever. I'm just saying, if you're younger, if you're like in your teens or your 20s, like, please, may there be people in your life who are, you know, if they're going to be those being like, what are you doing? What are you going to do? What kind of career do you, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can change your mind. There needs to be somebody in everybody's life that's just like, you can change your mind. If you don't want to, if you're happy and feeling fulfilled, great. But if you've been doing it and it's like, you know, I was so happy when I started here, but I'm just restless. Well, what you gonna do about it? And it doesn't have to be self-destructive to change your mind. It doesn't have to be disrespectful. And at the same time, other people don't have to understand. I feel like most of the time we already know where the important conversations are. You ladies are wildin'. It's okay, do your thing. Nobody's hurt or upset. So I'm just saying, you wildin'. They're so happy that I'm back. Had to run errands with my mom for a few hours, and we back. And so I just wanted to like I said, it's not so much about a debate. It's just conversation. It's just a topic. It's just penny for your thought. You know what I mean? What if you get to your 40s, 50s, or 60s and you're so thankful that you gave yourself some elbow room all those years ago? So you majored in something particular. Okay. You know, with those kind of credits, if you ever decided that you wanted to major in something else later, you can. And since you've already got all that done, you don't have to worry about redoing it to be able to do other things. I mean, There are certain prereqs and stuff like that, but you know, you already know. And if you weren't able to go to college or even community college after high school, if you did enter the so-called real world, which you were already in, thank goodness, right? Where am I? Like, you can go anytime. Not only is there financial aid and such, but you know, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. You know, yeah, there are times, like maybe at the time of filming, where there's a lot going on in the world and it can be very heavy. Don't be distracted, because that's the majority of what's going on with the headlines and stuff. It is a distraction. And caring is not a bad thing. It's when we begin sacrificing ourselves to help others, to care for others, because why would you though? You don't actually have to. You don't have to decide everything for the rest of your life when you're still technically considered a child. And that's another thing. It's really weird because like you'll just be living your life. You're not thinking, I'm 25, I'm 35. You're living your life. And it's those moments, at least for me, it's more so those moments when you think about life and everything that's happened. Okay, now I feel my age. Thanks. I was good and now I'm still good actually. I'm still good. It's fine. Because I'm still here. And as long as you're breathing, you should still have options. And if things don't seem to be working out the way you want them to, the way you expect them to, maybe you're too close and you just need to take a step back. Because it still can be okay. I don't want to dishonor or disrespect any gravity of any particular situations. I admit I'm sticking a bit surface level in this conversation because this channel is more so for like companionship and a distraction, right? I don't want to have like hour-long videos, but I'm gonna leave myself that elbow room too, you know. If you're wondering who the heck I am, I forgot I didn't even say my name, did I? Hi, I'm Amy. It's so nice to meet you. I'm just here to vibe. You know, I already expressed that I feel like the internet these days is kind of like present day wild, wild west. And as far as I'm concerned, if there's so much of that crap, there's the more the merrier for the positive vibes too. And just reminding people, you're not actually alone. There are a bunch of us who may or may not use similar vernacular, who may or may not dig the same things all around the world, right? So let's show them how it's done. If someone's ever told you, you're too nice, oh, you got to pick a particular. No, you don't. And no, you're not. Show them how it's done. You're okay, duly noted. I'm going to do it my own way because you're not doing anything wrong. The odds are you're not actually doing anything wrong. Are you purposely disrespecting people? Are you personally jamming that middle finger right up their noses? No. I mean, unless you are. Dang, what happened? What you doing? I'm about to bust out the popcorn like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video. What's going on? You okay? Just remember, you can change your mind. If at any point you're like, it's just not the same anymore. Okay. What does now feel like for you? What are your passions now and how have they evolved with you? You don't need to stifle them. You don't need to. If we were able to feel good in our own skin, if we were able to feel good in our own minds, about our bodies, about our minds, about our ages, a lot of industries, a lot of companies would be out of business. Period. Anyway, I feel like that's all I got. I'm just going to start repeating myself otherwise. I feel like I made the points I wanted. And now they're up on the internet. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me and keeping me company. I'm sorry. Wait, you didn't even get to see my kitties, did you? Nope, they hid. Oh, well. You'll see them next time. It's okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your company. I really appreciate your time and that you shared it with me. And yeah, until next time, I'm gonna go babble by myself, okay? Bye. You take care.